Hello. So I'm back again, and I've been off for some time, but I've been busy creating more frameworks and perhaps more in-depth frameworks since Nico made that change that allowed us to have about 5,000 characters in a framework. This enabled me to be able to create more complex, perhaps frameworks that can give you a whole section of an article or sales page that you want to create. So today, the idea is to show you how to write keyword-rich content, content that will pull a lot of crowd, will pull a lot of traffic, content that people will find very useful, content that is usually related to a skyscraper content. And skyscraper content in this case, if you listen to people like Miles Beckler and Backlinko, the guy who owns Backlinko, he created this concept where, in order to get to the first page of Google, you create a content that is bigger, better, more interesting, more fascinating than what is already on the first page in Google. And what we want to do with in today's video, I want to show you how you can use both closest copy and phrase together to create a skyscraper content that would amaze your fans, that will completely amaze your readers. So I'm going to be starting from a completely blank slate to show you how we'll do this. So we are using the Ultimate Guide frameworks. Now, if you don't have this already, all you just do is go into the community and type in Ultimate Guide. Actually, Ultimate will probably pull me up. So it pulls up all the frameworks in this guide. What I've done is I've labeled them alphabetically and with numbers, so that when you actually pull them into your own project, you can just follow from the top down. And so even if you don't watch this video and you just know, okay, this is one of the frameworks, you just go to the top and use that to generate the first step, go to the next step, go to the next step. So you can actually do that if you want. But the idea behind this particular framework was I wanted to create a system that would enable me to create an ultimate guide on something, maybe like anxiety, or maybe an ultimate guide to driving, but create it in a way that is unique, interesting, and well thought out, and will give people very useful information. But you see, for me, one of the problems with creating these kind of ultimate guides is actually quite a number of different problems. So one problem would be that it's so tedious to come up with the content. So I just wanted to find an easy way to come up with the content, and closest copy does that for us in a very simple and easy way. But then you could write amazing content, but because you don't have any keywords in the content that people are looking for, nobody finds your content. So no matter how good that content is, if you don't already have an audience, how are people going to get to read it? And so we want to write a very good content that the search engines will be able to find easily, and that's where Frase comes in. And so the idea here is to kind of use Frase to generate content that is already being searched for. Sorry, to generate content that's linked to keywords that's already been searched for. So how do we do this? So the first step here is to kind of generate the idea. You may be coming to this already with something you want to write about, or you may be coming to this with no idea. So step A will be to generate the topic ideas. So let's just generate some topic ideas. I don't know much about cars, but let me generate something on cars. Just use that as an example. That's completely not my area, but we'll see where this gets us. So cars, car insurance, leasing a car, maintenance, car maintenance. Let's go to car maintenance. So now what you should usually do here is that when you pick a keyword, you need to check that the keyword is something that people are looking for. So usually you would use a keyword tool to check whether it's got good search volume and it's got a good keyword difficulty level. Now, this is not a tutorial on how to find keywords, so I'm not going to be going into that in detail. If anybody is interested in learning how to find the best keywords for their articles, there's a guy called Miles Beckler. He's very, very good at explaining keywords and how to find keywords for your articles and how to find the best keywords that will put you on page one, right? So let's just imagine that we have found this keyword and we've tested this keyword out, maintenance, car maintenance. We've tested this keyword out and found it as something that is very lucrative in terms of the amount of traffic it will bring for you, right? So the idea here now, where do we go from here? And this is where Frase comes in. So we take this keyword and go into Frase and create a new document in Frase. So Frase will now take that keyword car maintenance and look at the first 20 pages on Google. So not 20 pages, the first 20 links on Google, and pull the information out there. Now what this is doing for you is it's giving you insight into the keywords these people are using on these first 20 pages that will ensure that if you use these keywords, Google will notice you and actually think, oh, this is a very good page or article to rank, right? So car maintenance. So what I like to do is go to the topic. Before I go to topics, I kind of edit just to remove anything that doesn't look relevant to what I want. Tips. Car maintenance. No, that doesn't sit well what I want. On ultimate car maintenance checklist, that's good. Car maintenance tips, motoring, I don't know what that's about. Car maintenance, I don't know what that is about. Checklist, yep. Maintenance safety, don't know what that's about. Vehicle maintenance, safety and security, I don't know. That's not relevant to what I want. Yep, that's relevant. I don't know if that is relevant. Okay, so save the 14 articles that is selected, and then all you just go to the topic section. And what we want is to choose enough topics from here to reach anything close to from 70% to 100%. So at the moment, what this is suggesting is that all the articles on page one, at least the first 20 articles, the keywords, there's an average score of 41% of all the keywords are being used here. So if I create an article that includes almost all the keywords here, I'm bound to be interesting to the Google search engine. So there are two things going on here. All we're just finding, first of all, is finding the keywords, and then we're going to use closest copy to create content for these keywords in a very easy and interesting way, and create content in a way that will perhaps surpass, not perhaps, actually will definitely surpass what is currently there. Okay, so what do we want? Tire pressure. That may be interesting. All I'm just doing is clicking this to copy it over. spare tire, fog lights, wiper arm, spark plugs, max visual, air filter cover. So I'm presuming, as I'm looking at this, I'm presuming that it's going to be almost like a list post that goes through each part of the car and perhaps suggests different things you can do for that part of the car. Simple steps. I don't need that one. Whoops. So we want it to at least cross over to this, and the more you get to the 100, the better. And usually, because closest copy will help you write the content easily. There's nothing wrong with just making sure that you got 100% in here. Screen washer bottle, automotive industry, electrical connector, legal limits, I don't know, quick wipe, regular windows clean, simple checks, engine oil. So already, so we have sort of 80% here, so we could actually go with that. So all we just do, just copy all of this. So essentially what this is saying is, if Google is looking for an article to rank on car maintenance, it's going to be looking for articles that have these keywords in it. And so now we've got to write an article using these keywords, and this is where closest copy shines. Usually when I try to write an article, trying to use keywords to write an article, this is one of the reasons why I often stay away from the keyword process, because it can get so mechanical. So you take all these keywords and you try to now create articles, chapters and contents and text around the keywords, and it just gets so clunky, it gets so tedious, gets so hard, and so it's just easier to not bother. But since closest copy can help us to do this, it makes the whole process easy. So I'll copy that over to closest copy, and all we just got to do is work through each of these. Now, the way I would go about doing this would be to look at what I have in this list and try and order them in an order that feels like like the best order. So for example, let's say you were writing about going to wee in the toilet. Just use that example. So the order would be, let's say you're just waking up. So you wake up, get up out of bed, go to the toilet, open the door, go to the toilet, do your business, wash your hand, come out of the toilet. So there's an order there. And so in the same way, when people are coming to read your article, if there's an order that seems logical, that they are following, it makes for a better flow of reading. So you want to just make sure that the keywords seem to flow in a specific order. So for example, if there is tires here, putting on tires and then making sure the tires are clean, I could put those two together, for example. But we're not going to be going to that aspect for today. So once you've done that, what you then need to do is to decide, okay, tire pressure. So what are we going to say about tire pressure? What can we talk about tire pressure? It can be hard to just come up with the idea. So rather than come up with the idea by yourself, why don't you let closest copy come up with ideas for what you can say around tire pressure? So we go to I'll jump the headline and the main intro, because that's quite simple. All you just have to do is, when you take this car maintenance and you just put that into the headline and get some headline around car maintenance, and that'll give you some headline, and then you can use that actually as a guide to how the rest of the content will flow. Okay, so I'm jumping ahead here, but the idea here is we want to first of all create, to kind of connect the dots with all the keywords we have here. But to help us connect the dots, we ensure that we first have a title that gives us an idea of what we're trying to do with this article. So the title, 5 simple rules of maintaining maximum power. Okay. 3 secrets to engineered maintenance. How to fix it yourself. 6 steps. Okay. Let's use this one. I'm going to adjust a little bit. Car maintenance. How to fix it yourself. 6 steps. 6 simple steps to. Let's copy that into here. Right. Okay. So that's got our main keyword title in there. Okay, so main keyword in there for the title, car maintenance. Now they will usually tell you try to make the car maintenance, if it's a keyword, make it come somewhere in front. So we could change this a little bit. So car maintenance. Okay, I don't want to get wrapped up in showing you how to deal with keywords, because that's not the aim of today's tutorial. So car maintenance, 6 simple steps to fix it yourself. Okay, so that could be the title we go run up with. So we know that this is what this article is showing. It's going to show people steps to fix it yourself. It may be more than 6, because we've got loads of points we could use here. All right, so go back to tire pressure. So what we want to say about tire pressure, let's closest copy, find that for us. So we take that and we go into develop big ideas. So the idea here is your whole article has a big idea, and the big idea of the whole article is showing them the simple steps to fix the car yourself. But then each section of the article will have its own big idea, and so what you do then is figure out what each of the big ideas are. That will also help you in knowing how to arrange the topics after each other in a manner that makes sense. Okay, so develop your big ideas. We're going to there and type in let me see if I just put tire pressure. I don't know whether that would work, but let's do tire pressure and see what it comes up with there. So it's come up with, to reduce tire pressure, overinflate your tires will lessen. To reduce tire pressure, you've got to remove excess weight. Okay. What if we want to maintain tire pressure? Let's use that. It still has the keyword there, because that's the keyword we want, tire pressure. So the idea here is we want to put a desire or pain in here. And why are we doing that? We want all the sections of the article to be relating to the desire or pain of the person who's coming to read, because the more you answer questions connected to what they're struggling with, the more useful they find the article. So once you do that from the word go, from the beginning, where you are forming your big ideas, you naturally infuse the desire and pain into each part of the content, right? So the desire here is maintain tire pressure. To keep your tires properly inflated, it's best to you must learn to infuse life into your vehicle, and that means pumping up the tires with air. Okay. You must remember the proper air pressure. Yeah, let's use this one. So there's a big idea here that would work for tire pressure. I'm going to make this like a header now, so we know that that's the first header. So the pain and desire is maintain tire pressure, and that's the big idea that is under there. Right. So we go to the next step, which is discussing why the big idea. And all we do here is pick up the maintain, put that in the topic, because that's a topic we're talking about, and take the big idea and put it in here and write for me. And it just bring out the content around tire pressure. So this is important because this takes away the guessing game from taking a keyword and trying to find content to match the keyword. So all we just have to now do is read the contents we have here. So this particular framework in this category, the idea here, it's discussing why it is important to do this thing. So it's helping you explore why it's important to maintain tire pressure. So in other words, all you just do is you put in the topic and put in the big idea, and you get a discussion on why it's so important, and maybe give you some pointers as well. So if you don't keep your tires properly inflated, they could explode. Wow. Is that true? I don't know. This could result in massive injuries or even death, which is true if your tire explodes. Why is this important to take on board? It's very important to keep your car tires properly inflated. Let's face it, driving a car is dangerous enough without having underinflated tires. What's the worst thing that could happen? Having underinflated tires could result in a blowout and sudden accident. This could result in massive injuries or even death. But when you remember to keep your car's tires inflated, you will reduce the risk of having a blowout. Right. So what that is doing, it's just giving you content that you can place there. Now, sometimes you have to kind of take the content and mix and match to fit into what you want to discuss. Other times you may be lucky, it just gives you everything. It just gives you is good enough to just copy and paste and perhaps just remove. You will notice I have this kind of thing that says make a statement and why, and that's being repeated. This is just to help the AI understand the sequence that I'm trying to instruct it to bring out. Okay, this other one says maintaining the proper air pressure in your car tires is one of the most important safety features on your vehicle. Why is it important to take this on board? One of the first rules of good maintenance is to ensure that everything is in its place. If your car has got low tire pressures and you don't bring it to the attention of the dealer, then it will continue to get lower and lower. Eventually, it will get so low that it can be fixed and could explode. Okay, this could cause serious injury. So it's sort of saying similar things, but this is the point here now. For me, I don't really know so much about car maintenance. Yeah, I know that you have to keep your tire up, but if I see a keyword tire pressure, what do I say about that? This is giving me content of what I can say about tire pressure. So all you just do is copy that and then place that in there. Now, before I just do that copy, again, my suggestion would be that you go through each of the keyword, bring out a pain point and a big idea, pain point, big idea for all the keywords first, and then that will help you also to know how to connect each topic area, subtopic area with each other, leading to a better flow of your article. Okay, so what I want to do today, I'm not going to go through the whole writing process. I'm just going to go through showing you how to use each of the modules that are here. So we've talked about module A, which is the headline. With the article intro, all you just do is just open that, copy the title here, and it gives you an introduction that's well suited to this article. Now, somebody asked in the Facebook page, is the content unique? The content is always unique as long as you are more in the creative zone. If you come to 0, the content is less unique. As long as you're in the creative zone, the content is always unique. Right, so it gives you a grabbing introduction to someone who's looking to know how to maintain their car. And that's all that does. And then you just paste it at the top before you start to kind of discuss each of the points you pulled in from Frase. Okay. So that's the first. So far we've dealt with generating topic ideas, headlines, and main intro, as well as developing your big idea and discussing the why of the big idea. Now you may be wondering, so why do I have all these different models? The idea here is that when you want to write a long piece of content, it's crucial that you maintain interest. And one of the fastest ways to lose interest is if your content seems to be following a very predictable format. There should be some predictability in it, but it shouldn't be extremely predictable. So all these models, they're answering questions that are asked in different ways and looking at problems from different angles. And what I've done there is just use some of psychological principles of how we get people to answer certain questions, or how we look into problems for people. So this can help us ask the AI different questions from different angles. So moving on to the next one. We've discussed the big idea why. So for this one, the idea would be also you take your big idea and then you place it into here. So let's use fog lights. So fog lights go to develop. Now as you can see, what I've done is I've titled it C, C1, C2, D, D1, E, E1. So if they have the same letter, it means that you would usually use them together. So C, let's go in there. Let's develop a big idea for this fog light. So fog light, how can we say this in the form of a pain or desire? So pain, costly. Right. Because nobody really wants to buy costly fog lights today. Okay, let's see what it pulls out from there. Again, as I said, this is not my area. I'm just showing you how you can use the frameworks in the ultimate guide frameworks. Okay, to get the best night vision, you've got to remove the front fog lights. Well, remove, and to get rid of the fog lights in your car, you've got to first spend some money. Yeah, definitely, I know that. So you may be getting confused by that particular. What can I say about fog lights that's related to pain? Getting good is a desire, isn't it? Getting good fog lights. That's a desire. Okay. The big idea, even if you don't plan on using them much, it's good to have them to help you drive safely in the dark. You need to have, yep, let's use this as the big idea. So to help you drive safely in the dark, you need to get good headlights, fogs, and turn signals. You need all the safety equipment on your car. So let's just keep good headlights, good fog lights, let's just say. And all we're just doing is we're trying to make sure that the keyword is in there, right? Yeah, we know that to drive safely, you need to have good fog lights. Getting good fog lights. I mean, there are other, definitely other big ideas you can talk about fog lights, but I just want to kind of take you through the process. So I'm not going to try and make this perfect. Okay. So fog lights. So we'll go to C2. So what does C2 do? So C2, whereas C1 is telling you why it's important to do that thing, C2 is going through the perspective of exploring, first of all, the wrong way of doing that thing. And often what happens is many people, they may not listen to you when you say to them, okay, this is a solution. But if you tell them, first of all, the wrong thing most people do and the better thing to do, then they may listen to you because they see themselves somehow in that wrong thing. So they see themselves as falling into that trap of that wrong thing. Now they value the good thing you're suggesting. Otherwise, what happens is you suggest something good, they just ignore it. It doesn't matter. So, for example, if you listen to some of the other videos I have done, I started off by actually talking about a problem that I've encountered that closest copy solves, and that makes closest copy appear more valuable because we've started off by talking about the problem first, and that's what this particular framework does. So getting good fog lights, so copy that in here and then copy that in there. And then that gives us an idea of what to do. But first of all, exploring the mistakes people make, the wrong things people do first that gets them in trouble. Okay. Now this is perhaps going to take long because I keep waiting for the program to respond. So I might be doing a bit of editing later on and just chopping things so that we don't have to wait too long. Okay. Right. So some people do things like insist that fog lights are not needed because they never use their headlights at night. Whoa. Maybe in some countries. They are so used to always having their light on that they assume that the car is well lit all the time. This is especially true with car owners who have had their vehicles for a long time. Their cars are like a member of the family and they've gotten used to having their lights on all the time without thinking about whether or not they actually need them. This often leads to fender benders and other types of accidents when drivers slam on their brakes because they don't see what's right in front of them. Okay. So, but you get the idea. It's going to discuss the problem of fog lights from the perspective of the mistakes and the wrong things people do, and then to suggest the correct way of doing it. So that's what this particular framework does. So the next framework from there, I'm going to the D. So the idea with this these two is they help you take a belief a person has and help you change them. So first of all, we want to develop a belief. We want to develop a belief, and then we create a kind of challenge for the belief. We want to develop a challenge for the belief. So let's say wiper arm. What kind of belief would people have around the wiper arm? Maybe something like, I don't need to change my car's wiper arm. So this is the belief, and what this is going to do is going to create a challenge to that belief. Now with this one, you perhaps are better off if you know some of the kind of beliefs people have. Obviously, closest copy can actually help you come up with the beliefs. If you don't know, I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But if you do know, just type in what belief people has. your prospective reader will have about issues in the content you writing about. So let's see what closest copy will pull up here. So the statements that you're trying to challenge is okay, that didn't quite come up properly. Let's try again. So again, you'll notice that closer copy does this quite a bit. When it reads a sentence you've put in there and it's thinking that there should be something that should complete it, it will add that because they keep getting better and better. So this is the statement. I won't be able to tell if it's getting any better or not. No, nope, that doesn't work. Oh, for some reason it's not pulling a good challenge out of here, this one. Maybe it's because of what is written here. Okay, let's change this. It's a waste of time. Let's see what that brings up. Some of these modules may still need some tweaking, so you'd bear with me. Okay, so that's a good challenge. I get 100 times more use out of my wiper arm by changing them every time I get a major repair, like a new paint job. So if your reader is thinking it's a waste of time to change car wiper arms, you're using that as a challenge. So that then becomes the point of discussion around car wiper arms. Let's make that a second heading. So it's a waste of time. This is what the reader is thinking, but this is what you want to prove to the reader, and that gives you the content for that section. So we're in D. Now to break the belief. And sometimes just to help the AI answer your question and give you the content correctly, I would suggest that you click use the examples and then copy your phrases into the sections here. So first one, which is the old belief. The old belief is that it's a waste of time, and this is the new belief that you want them to believe. And so what closest copy will then do is to take the old belief and the new belief and create a discussion that would be helping to suggest reasons for why this new belief is better than the old belief. And that creates content relevant as well to the keyword. So sometimes you have to hold onto things you've been doing for a long time, even though you realize they are no longer working. The opposite of this would be to you realizing that something is not working and you make radical change. This is often very hard for people to do, and it's not always easy to tell if a change you're making is working or not. Okay. And then this so with this one is a bit finicky. The idea here is that it uses a story. It creates a story to show, almost like a parable, to show why this action that you are choosing to believe is dangerous. And the premise here is that often, again, when you tell people this is wrong, they don't believe you. But if you tell a story showing the dangers of the belief they have, it's almost as if they're convincing themselves that it's wrong. And so this is what this section is doing. It takes a story, goes through the story, and try and convince them that that they're wrong. Now, it was quite complex to make the AI know exactly what I'm trying to do here. So sometimes it flips the story the other way, and so what you could do is come here, look at the story starting to it gives you an idea of a story that you can then format into exactly how you want it to say things. So again, you're not just coming trying to get idea from the thin air. Saves you a lot of time, right? So next one is also similar but a different way, also helping breaking belief. But this is more from a perspective of people thinking, oh, the reason why my teeth is yellow is because I drink too much Coke, or the reason why my teeth my I'm fat is because I eat too much cakes, right? Sometimes when people have a very strong belief as to the reason why a problem exists, there's nothing you can do to shift them. So what we want to do is to kind of take the belief they have already and create an argument that helps them to see why they need to kind of adjust their belief. Okay. So the first one here, it brainstorms reasons why people think a particular problem exists. So let's use the cancer. Not the cancer. Go back to spark plug. Okay. Spark plugs keep spark plugs failure. So we want to bring some reasons people think the spark plugs tend to fail. Let's see if the AI will understand that. My car has been giving me trouble ever since I bought it last year. My car has been acting up, and I thought it was because I wasn't changing the spark plugs for a while. So the belief here is because I wasn't changing the spark plugs for a while. So let's take that belief. Spark plug failure. My car keeps, I'll change this a little bit. Keeps acting up. Because I wasn't changing the spark plugs. So that's the belief the customer has. So we go to E1. We put the topic of interest and the belief. So essentially this person is thinking that the only reason the car is acting up is because they haven't changed the spark plugs. So let's look at what closest copy would say. So again, we're coming up with discussions around spark plugs. Okay, I'm hoping you can see the process we are following. We're taking the keywords we've gotten from Frase and creating discussion around those keywords. This is so easy, rather than struggling to figure out, okay, I found my keywords now, so what do I write? What do I do? I'm just staring at the screen. And that has been something that used to keep me from writing articles based on keywords for a long time. Right. So if you believe your car is constantly acting up because you haven't changed the spark plug, this belief will make you feel the problem is insurmountable, that no matter how good your mechanic is, or how much time and money you spend on maintaining your car, it would never run reliably. But the truth is your car is acting up because there's something seriously wrong with it, not because you haven't changed the spark plug. And so it uses an analogy to kind of explain how a problem can occur that's not necessarily just related to spark plugs. So in essence, what we're doing here is we're telling them the truth without telling them directly the truth. We're creating a story in which enables the person to tell themselves the truth. So that's what that section is doing. And I'll just do, yeah, you copy that into that for that section. Okay, I'm hoping this is all making sense. If there's anything that I'm not explaining properly and you need to ask a question, please do so. Right now, this next one is quite interesting. I call them surprising how-tos. I've got two types here. And surprising how-tos, and the idea here is, and this is kind of working on the work of Dan. I think his name is called Dan, and I can't remember the names of the writers now. Dan and Pink, I think it is. But the title of the book is How to Make Things Stick. And so they go through certain things you need to consider to help people to read your content and remember your content. And one of those things is to surprise people. So when you are reading something that surprises you, because it surprises you, it makes you more interested to satisfy that surprise. So in these two frameworks, so what they do is come at a problem from a surprising angle. So the first one, so let's look at air filters. So the desire would be get better car air filters. I'm not sure whether the topic of cars is the best one to have used to explain these frameworks, but I just wanted to just show you that it could work with anything. You just have to kind of do the work of making sure that what you're copying in matches with what you know will help people really. Okay. I don't want to take too much time, so we'll be wrapping up soon. So I might not be able to go through all the frameworks, but you get the idea of what we are doing with the frameworks. We're using the frameworks to generate content for each of the keywords, so each keyword will form a subheading, and when we generate content for that keyword, what this would do will mean then that by the time you've completed all the content, you've completed the content writing very useful, very interesting, very surprising, very keyword rich content that Google will definitely find interesting, and if it's longer and more rich than what is already there in page 1, you can be guaranteed that Google will bring you to page 1 as well. So what's the surprising tool here? So what this does is just decide on what is a surprising tool. Okay, so it's choosing your embarrassment. So how to use your embarrassment to get rid of the, okay, I don't know what that's saying. Okay, how to use boredom to get better car air filters. Okay, that perhaps doesn't make much sense. So you may need to kind of do the click the button a lot of times. But let's just say for instance, you're reading this article, you're starting to get bored, and then you just see a title: how to use boredom to get a car air filters. You just be wondering, what does that mean? Even now, if the answer you give, if the rest of this content does not make sense and is not actually showing you how you can use boredom to get better air filters, then it is useless. However, if you can get content that's surprising, that starts up with a surprising thing like this, and it actually answers the question, you can guarantee the fact that you can guarantee that the reader will be awe-stricken, and because they're awe-stricken, they get glued to what they're reading. Okay, let me use this example from a Become Confident, because that will show you better what I mean there. So Become Confident. And it's taking forever. So I guess perhaps one question that you may have in your mind is, so why don't I just use just only one of the frameworks? Again, as if you did that, you'll only be creating a certain format of response that can get boring quite quickly. But if you follow this process where you choose and pick different frameworks to answer each, and to give you content for each of the keywords you have found from Frase, now you're guaranteed a much more engaging content. Because of the way I've done the frameworks is there's contours. Something that will surprise will answer, something that will interest will answer, something that will highlight a pain point will give you an answer to it, will give you some steps, and that way you can create an article that is very, very useful to the reader. So how to use your shyness to become more confident. That's not something we would expect, because you won't be expecting to use shyness to be more confident, and so this would be surprising to the reader. So confidence is attractive. So confidence is attractive and something everyone would like. We all want to be seen as good people by those around us. Confidence gives us a sense. So first of all, it reinforces the importance of confidence. Yeah. Now, shyness is a natural human condition, and many of us experience to some degree. However, many of us experience shyness so much that we actually hold back from living our lives. There are many different reasons we feel shy. But then it will then explain, but by understanding your shyness, you can begin to overcome it. This will help you become more confident in an all-round way. So what it's doing here is, again, as I said, it's trying to answer a question, but using a surprising approach. And because you surprise the person to start off with an initial shock, it's a bit like a cat that just got shocked by something that was moving at the corner, and the cat is so curious and can't stop but look at what's in the corner. And the same thing that happens to us when something shocks us like that, we want to kind of find out, okay, where is this leading to? And that keeps the reader hooked. Right. So all the frameworks here, they are kind of giving you different ways of answering questions. So for example, these ones are just giving you kind of ideas around mistakes. So all filter, a desire would be getting better all filters, and we'll just create a list of mistakes that people may make around all filters. Okay. Changing all filters too often will save money. That's a myth. Using incorrect type of oil, that's a mistake. Using the wrong grade of oil, that's a mistake. So they just kind of give you kind of mistakes that people would make, and then you can create stories around those mistakes by going to this next one. Ask any question. So in this case, when you've gotten all your contents, you may find out there are some areas that the questions haven't really been answered, and you just want to just get an answer for that area. You can go in here and ask any question. So let's see a question around maintenance tasks. Why are maintenance tasks so difficult? And it gives you an answer in form of a discussion, which can also go into that section. Because most of us are not taught how to do them, and even if we are schooled in basic maintenance, we are not trained in advanced techniques that can make all the difference. Maintenance is a simple act of keeping something good or working. That means taking care of things that will continue to work properly. The hard part is deciding what things need to be taken care of. When it comes to a marriage, a lot of things need to be maintained, for example. Okay, so just giving you example from other concepts. And that's an interesting one. You could actually use a marriage as a metaphor to explain why maintenance can be difficult. Car maintenance can be difficult. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea, and then you finish with an inspirational conclusion. So what all this does is you come to, and you can just work through all of this. For each keyword, you choose one that you feel might answer the question or discuss the question in the best way for that particular keyword, and you keep going through. And again, as I say, you try to alternate and choose different discussion methods from different frameworks to discuss things differently, to keep the long content interesting and attractive. So this is how we go about, first of all, making sure we are writing about keywords people are looking for, but then we're also writing about subtopics that are relevant to the keyword by going to Frase, pulling the content in from Frase, and then making sure that the content stays interesting, attractive, it's surprising, it deals with people's pains and desires consistently, keeping the reader interested in the content and pull them in. And this is all we want to do. And so when we do all of that, that's almost guaranteed that Google will see your article and see, oh, it's answered all these questions and all these articles that people are interested in already. And these are the questions that this article has answered, is answered even more. And so it takes your content, takes your article, and puts it in the first page, and perhaps maybe in the very first spot of the article. Now, what I would really love is that if you use these set of frameworks and you find yourself in the first page of Google in the next 3 weeks, or usually it takes to about 3 weeks to about a month or two for Google to recognize the article and then pull it to the first page. Please, it would be nice to kind of give a shout, perhaps come down into the YouTube section here and just put in the comments that yes, this process has worked for you. That will be helping my channel. That will also be helping Nico's sell more of Closest Copy. I'm actually quite excited to get more people to find this gem that we call Closest Copy, because it can make your writing life pain-free. And I'm saying that very seriously. Okay, so that's all from me today, and see you in the next video.